Hi everyone, Phil from Phil's Train Layout. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody's been enjoying the content that I've been producing. Just a little bit of fun. I spoiled myself a little bit for my coffees, so that's my new mug. So it's my logo, and it has Phil's Train Layout Store. You know, Phil's Train Layout, caution, fun with trains. So a little nerdy, but I like it and it's fun, and it promotes my store and my layout. So so what we're gonna do today is, oh, excuse me, yum. So what I think we're gonna do today is I think I'm going to take one of these little culverts that I had 3D printed off and designed for my layout. Comes in two pieces. This one here just slips right through, so at the end of the pipe you can push it in and out as far out as you want and as far in as you want. So neat little gizmo, 3D printed. It is available on my store. So what I think I am going to do is right in this area right here, I think I'm just going to add a little bit of interest just in this area right here. So what happens is all the rainwater and everything else go into this little pond that's right here. And so it doesn't overflow into the roads and everything else. What I need to do is pretend that there is a pipe, a drainage pipe of some type for overflow that runs underneath these tracks. So right in this spot, I think I'll just 3D print a little storm grate and put it right in there just to catch the flow off from here. And then I'll just cut this down like this. I'll set that right in this area right here. Just channel the edge of the ground a little bit, but just put some dirt and some bushes along there, and just have a little trickle of water running out it, so it looks like it's draining off into a little drainage ditch. And I think that'll look pretty neat. So stick around, stay tuned, and I'll take you through the process of what I'm going to do, and you can work along with me. Hi everyone, I'm back. So I'm not really going to need a whole lot of tools for this. I'm just going to need my X-Acto knife. Might need a little marker just to mark where the culvert is going to be, and pick a position that I want it in. So I'm kind of thinking that it's going to be like right about here. Just because piping usually works best if you run it in straight lines. So if I put, this seems to be about the lowest spot right here for where this little ditch is, and probably have a little drainage at the end of the pond, which would come straight through, have a drain off here, and then come straight to the culvert, and have it drain off into a big drainage ditch. So I think we'll mark this out a little bit on the edge. So I still want it sitting off just a little bit, because I don't want it right up to the track, because there's usually a little bit of space in there. So have that marked. Pull out some of these bushes and we'll set them aside for later. Because I can easily just put all those back in afterwards. Just kind of save some of those bushes. Save some of this foliage. I'll just kind of grab it here. Make a little pile on top of the desk. And maybe we'll take these out too. So, now's the scary part where you think, oh man, I am now going to cut into everything that I've been working so hard at. So yes, I always use white foam for my underbase. Something that I've always used. And I like it. It's cheap. It works well. And, you know, if you don't mind cleaning up some of the white balls that get everywhere, it is not a bad thing. See, little pieces. So, let's get under here. I'll just trim that up. And that should come out as one nice piece. Maybe I can use that as a diorama, as a ditch. Just kidding. So, clean this up a little bit. You can see all my glue under here, holding down the foam. Okay, so now that I have all that pretty much up and out of the way, so now we'll do a quick little test fit. And I probably could have cut that a little not so deep. So that's going to go about there. So, let me think. Let's use that. So I just want to tear out just some of this in here. And sorry for the people that don't like the sound of styrofoam. So what I'm doing is here is I am just digging a little hole just so that the pipe from the culvert has somewhere to go. So okay, so that will fit just kind of in there like that, but I ended up pushing the pipe in. See, the pipe, it actually moves in and out for wherever you want the pipe to go. So I want the pipe to sit up just a little higher. Oh wow, that's a little baby knife. That's not cool. So where is, let's see, I just want, it's a little bit higher up in here, so I'll just pick some of those ones out. I don't want to go too high because I don't want to get into the structure and wreck that, because I don't want to have to fix that if I don't have to. And trusty garbage bag. Try to reduce the amount of cleaning that I have to do. Foam balls. And it doesn't matter. I got foam balls all over the floor already anyway. So that will fit just in there like that. So what I can end up doing is, after I have this into place, so right in under here, I can just put a little bit of Sculpting mold right in here and just kind of set this down on it, and then just have it kind of blend down away, and then I'll cut this back so that it all kind of blends in and it all drains into the drainage ditch. So I am going to start cutting away at some of this, and I'll come back and show you a little bit more of the framing. Okay, so I'm back. So what I've done is I've shaved down the edges a little bit more, just to smoothen off the transition down into the drainage ditch. I just have this temporarily supported right there, just because it's just sitting there, and I just wanted to see what it would look like. So have everything there. Now I'll just mix up a little bit of Sculpting mold, and I'll just fill this in just a little bit under here, because I want the edge of this culvert right here, I want it, the Sculpting mold behind it, so that it looks like, you know, it's built on top of things and draining down a little bit further into the drainage bed. So I'm just gonna mix up some Sculpting mold, and let's get molding. So again, this is my own kind of blend of Sculpting mold. It's just a paper mache base and some plaster of Paris. I just mix it together in portions. Plaster of Paris helps it cure faster and harden, and the paper mache is the base. So I'll just get this in here. So all I'm doing is I'm putting a little bit here on the edge, just like that, because when I put the culvert in, I want to make sure that I have a little around the edge for it to mold to. Oops. So I'll just get that in position there. And when you play with paper mache or Sculpting mold, you just can't help but get your fingers in it. And a toothpick. All I needed is a little toothpick, but I don't have a toothpick. So And it starts to, with the plaster of Paris in there, it starts to harden up pretty decent. You know, you have still a little bit of time to manipulate everything, but it dries fast enough that you can still play around and not have to wait 3 days in order for it to, like, so you can paint it and push some of that up in there. You just want to create just a little bit of a, like a ledge that it's sitting on top of. On a little bit of an angle, and then blend this up the hill, because I still want it to drain down, and I want everything else to drain into the ditch. Like patching up drywall. I had a little dig hole right there from that I poked by accident when I was cutting the embankment out. So I have a little bit of sculpting mold left over here. So I had a little rock face over here that I wanted to make. So I think I'm gonna use the rest of this and finish that up. I'll show you that up a little bit after too. Hi everybody, I'm back. So it's been about 6, maybe 7 hours since I had put this culvert in this morning. And it's not bad. It's just a little tiny bit tacky, and if I wanted to, I could, you know, add water to this and smooth it out some more. But I think I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna put a little bit of color in here, add a little bit of details, and try to finish this off and let it dry overnight, and then it can all cure together. So I'm just going to start with just your basic colors. I usually put the paint just right on top and then just spread it around with a brush. This is just basically a base coat, and I'm running a little low, but that's okay. This stuff's cheap. So yeah, you just kind of spread it around a little bit. I just want to add just a little bit of color just before you put on your any of your base ground cover or anything, just because you don't want you know, if you chip a piece off or a piece of the ground cover comes off, you don't really want your to see white coming through, and if you miss a little piece somewhere, you don't really want to have that showing through. And so there's a little bit of that. Probably could have put it on just a little bit thicker, because I'll see if I can get a little bit more out here, because I still want it a little bit wet when I go to put on my ground cover, and I can come back and touch this up afterwards with some color. So I want this just a little bit wet when you're adding this on, and don't worry about blending your colors in, because it's just a base color. And when this dries, it can also serve as almost like your glue, even though I'm going to be going over it afterwards anyway with glue, just to secure it all. But you know, you want to blend that in, because you know this is going to be kind of dirty in here, and it's also dirty up here. So, and I'll touch that up later. So there's the basic coloring. So I have basic colors that I use. So I use fine turf. This is what I use as the base usually. Like that, and then you know I come in with some burnt grass, because you know it's not really pretty around the culvert. You know, it's mainly just ditches, and you know there's a lot of dead foliage and everything around it. So I can straighten all this and clean the rest of this up afterwards once I get some of this in place. You know, and put some bushes and everything around it. So, and then of course you can blend all this in afterwards. So take just a little bit of foliage in here. Just gotta tap some of that in. You know, and then we'll put in some bigger shrubs and everything, you know, to surround that afterwards. You know, put a couple bushes around here and around here, maybe a couple trees coming through. So for the base, I just have this cheap bag of stone. It actually looked pretty neat when I saw it. I don't even remember where I got it, but it just looks like just crushed stone. So, you know, I thought that would kind of look neat as the base, you know, coming out of the culvert. You know, usually at the base of culverts and stuff, you see, you know, stones and whatnot, so that it doesn't get washed away by the water rushing through. So put a nice layer on there. Just kind of tap that just a little bit, just to get it into the paint that's on the base there. Just like that. And then from the dollar store, you know, I'm probably just going to give this a bit of a wet wash anyway. But you know, from the dollar store, I just found this this kind of gravel here, just bigger chunks, just to also put a few in there, just kind of layer that up. And of course, I'll give this a bit of a black wash as well. Build up some of that just to get a couple layers in there, so it right to the edge. Just like that. And then to finish it off, I have, this is a blend that I made. It's two different types of coarse dirt, sand. It's called fine buff, but I have extra fine and fine both mixed into this, just as a sand deposit, just to fill in a little bit inside. You don't want a whole lot of this, just because it'll probably just end up being too much. But once once I put the glue on and have that all glued down, I could probably also just do a quick wet wash on here, just to blend it all, just so it doesn't look so crisp, you know, and you know, like a black wash just in here, and just to dirty it up a little bit, because you know, it kind of looks too pretty. So after that, I have some really fine gray ballast here. I can just throw a little of that over top here, just, you know, so I can get a little bit of a mixture going on. And then when I do the wash over top of that, it'll kind of blend it in together and give you a couple of different highlights and whatnot. There. So that's it so far. So I'll probably continue on with that in the morning, and you know, I'll give this culvert a coat of paint as well, and then I can wet wash that down a little bit as well, and just so it doesn't look so pristine and new, because right now it's kind of standing out, right? These culverts are really dirty. The trains go past, and you know, and they get real dirty quick. So, you know, good little black wet wash with that, and it'll blend it right down. So I'll come back in a few hours and see if there's something else I can do with this. Hi everyone, it's Phil from Phil's Train Layout again. Well, I'm back at it. It is the next morning. I've already had a couple coffees and raring to go. So I've added a little bit of shrubbery. I've added some foliage, some trees. And by the way, these trees here, my daughter bought me for Christmas, an early Christmas gift when we went to visit. So yeah, so I told her, I said I'll find a spot, I'll incorporate them in, and there they are. So that's not all of them, but I'm going to use some of them in a different area as well. But just wanted to let you know, your trees are in. So just a little update. Just wanted to let you know that this section, I believe, is pretty much done. So I waited till this morning. I added a little bit of just coloring, just watered down paint, and just did this area right here, just to make it look older and dirty from, years of dirt flowing through. Added a bunch of trees, added a bunch of bushes and some foliage, and I think that creates a nice little scenic spot. So, and then I'll just come back after it dries. I'll just touch these areas up here with black again. And then someday I'll get the fascia on. But that's another project for another day. So, I also said yesterday that I would give you an update on where I used the rest of the paper mache and plaster of Paris. So I used it and used it all up right here. So this, when I put this piece of track in one of the last videos, which I'll leave a link to it up above, what I had done is I had cut this piece right here. It used to extend down like this. So I had cut that out, and it was pretty plain and boring looking. So I used the rest of that sculpt and mold mix that I make, and I added a nice little rock face. So as it was curing, I used my X-Acto knife and just scored the rock engravements in it, if you would call it that. And then when that cured last night, I came back down and did a 4-color wash on it. I started with a black, and then some yellow and some orange, some brown, and then black wash again over top. Then added some foliage, added some trees, some bushes, and that's what that looks like. I think it turned out really well, and it's going to add a lot to this scenery. So that's everything for now. I'll leave that these two areas to dry for probably another number of hours. Maybe I'll come back after supper and I'll take a couple pictures when it's dry and close out the video with showing you what it looks like after it's dry. Hi everyone, Phil from Phil's Train Layout. So, not really going to do a whole lot of anything today, which is totally not true. No. It is true, but it is true. Hi everyone, Phil from Phil's Train Layout. So, I just wanted to start today by saying thank you for coming back for another video. I gotta write stuff down. like this side of my face.